This is Bryson's 1987 Mazda RX7. He poured his heart and soul into this car for a full year. And then he left home. He's gone, he's serving a mission, and won't be back for 2 years. In theory, he's not watching YouTube, so he shouldn't know what's going on here either, which makes this just that much more fun. The car, when he left, didn't run right. I'm past that. While there is more mechanical work to do, and I will continue on that, the car is fairly mechanically sound. Well, kind of. What I mean by that is it will now start whenever we want it to, and it doesn't seem to have any glitches or problems when you drive it. So it's a hoot to drive and it doesn't let you down. That's a good thing. We've done a lot. I went through Spark. It has a new leading coil pack on it. I went through fuel injectors. It had some cheap, high impedance fuel injectors on it, and the car is designed for low impedance fuel injectors. So I replaced all 4 fuel injectors with some new 550cc low impedance fuel injectors. And while it might be interesting to get some bigger ones and a programmable ECU, we'll keep thinking about that one for a while. That's not cheap. I have a new battery in the car. It kept dying, and when I realized that there was a reason for it, yeah, the alternator wasn't putting out any juice, I started reviewing the alternator and found that the exciter wire on the back of the alternator was not plugged in. Well, that also then induced some additional review of the wiring harness, and we found that the wiring wasn't strung where it needed to be, which made it so that one of the sensors, specifically the throttle body air temperature sensor, wouldn't reach and plug in either, so I got that hooked up. Little improvements along the way like that, I expect probably over the course of the next year or so. Well, here's the fun part. The car is missing all kinds of little odds and ends. Bezels, wiper arms, marker lights. And if you go out and look for these parts online, you'll spend a small fortune just picking up all these little odds and ends, partially because the car just isn't really well supported anymore. And so you're dealing with whatever exorbitant prices somebody on eBay wants to charge you, or if somebody's remanufacturing it, same thing, you end up paying way too much for the part. Well, I found 2 cars at a scrapyard in Idaho. So we made a trip to Idaho, where, by the way, they have 2 seasons, windy and cold, and we picked a time of year that they have both. The whole time it was windy and cold. I had a couple of Bryson's brothers with me, and then I also had my brother-in-law who lives up there, and we were privileged to walk back into the yard, which I know is kind of a rarity anymore. It seems like the pick and pull has become an order shop. Put in a ticket and I'll get it for you, which is nowhere near as fun, maybe more convenient, and the insurance companies prefer it, but nowhere near as fun. So we walked out into the North 40, and when I mean North 40, I mean we walked and walked like you could not see from the office where these cars were parked. So we made the trek. I took a bag of tools with me, and I had my mules, my kids, with me. So we made the trek, and I gotta tell you, this yard is like forever. It has infinity cars in it. It looks, you know how you go out in the ocean and you can't see land for as far as the eye can see? That's how I felt. I couldn't see anything but cars. Infinity cars. Well, so we made our way into the Mazda section, and sure enough, there are 2 cars over there. Not easy to find, but they're there, a white one and a red one. Both of them are naturally aspirated, which means that the engine parts are probably not particularly meaningful. The interiors have been pillaged and plundered, so not everything that I wanted was in there. We're in the North Pole. This is Santa's play shop. This is where the elves build all the Christmas toys. Oh, we're at Marler Auto, Salvage, Supply, something in Idaho Falls, and it's freaking freezing. But they got 2 FCs out here, both of which have some interesting parts. This one, and then the other one is right over there. I know, Randy's excited. He's like, give me some interesting parts. We had a successful haul. See if you can get the rear compartment out from behind the driver's seat. And I want the one from the passenger seat out of the white one.
Wait, why didn't we took these? Why didn't we do that?
The Brysons are just completely destroyed.
Really?
They're like broken. And
this doesn't look bad on the inside.
It's actually really good. It's just dirty. This is a crime of opportunity, so to speak, right? Would I go out and buy that? No. But here they are, and they're in pretty good shape, so okay. The center console in Bryson's car was quite a mess, and that piece, in fact, all of those pieces in there, they get old and fragile, quite brittle.
Sunroof delete.
I picked up a complete heat vent register for the center console out of one of those donor cars. And the instrument cluster bezel, this is the surround that goes last in front of the whole thing, kind of the shape forming piece. I have a spare one of those.
That's in remarkably good shape.
Those are going to this. Those go to the crusher.
Hey, there's a pair of boots in this one.
What size?
Bryson's car had a rear windshield wiper arm, but didn't have any wiper arms on the front. Both of them were missing. Where they ended up, I don't know, but they were gone. And where do you find them? I don't know. Huh, I do now.
Oh, wiper arms? Are the wiper arms good on this thing?
I can't. They're under the snow, I think.
Right here, they look pretty decent. Maybe a quick coat of paint would fix them up.
So let's see if we can get those.
Wiper arms, got it. By that beard, Nate, I couldn't tell that you were from Utah.
Really? Yeah, I fit in Idaho?
You look like you could work here.
Sweet!
I've been upping my game, you know.
I'm freezing. I'm dressed for.
I want that. The clips that hold the plastic into the center console, where the power mirror control is, were all completely broken off. So that thing was always floating around. Now I have another one of those. I want that. See, this is why it's just a
It's like a gold mine.
It's a foraging mission out here. Some of the plastic pieces at the front of the car, like speaker covers and other bezels, were missing. Not anymore. Some of the little odds and ends, like the fuse block under the hood, never had a cover on it, which isn't a big deal. It really isn't. But it's kind of nice to know what those fuses are without having to consult the factory service manual every time.
That, yep. I just want the cover off the top of it.
Okay. That's it.
Not to mention covering them up gives the engine compartment just a little bit better fit and finish. I need, is it this the one? Is that the one I need?
Yeah, you told me the orange ones. I thought.
Yep. I need those right there.
Gentle.
That's actually the number one thing I need. Because they're stupid expensive.
Are you sure you want these, Dad? I think somebody went over this with orange spray paint.
Well, it's not the cover that I care about. I mean, I want the cover, but what I care about is
You
the
want the core,
housings.
the housing? Yeah. Okay.
This car has never had the marker lights that go in the front bumper. Now it does. That right there, if you can find it, is like $200. We retrofitted power steering onto this car and pulled it from a donor car out of Rock Springs, Wyoming. And I thought I had all the parts. We got the pump, we got the rack, and we got all the lines. Well, turns out Mazda also has a power steering control unit that we did not get. And that unit is a little bit difficult to find.
Oh, definite. Almost forgot that. Power steering control unit.
Oh, you've got to be kidding me. There's one up there. Okay. Oh, that was a slightly claustrophobic moment right there.
Bingo.
I would be kind of curious to see if the other one has one too.
Well, now that I know what it looks like, I can go take a look.
Those are definitely the same thing, aren't they? I don't know why one's green and one's white, but...
Now I have two.
Find anything?
Yes. Yes, I did.
Ooh, beverages.
The driver's side rear view mirror on Bryson's car doesn't adjust up and down with the electric motor. All the other directions work, passenger side is fine, but it seems that the up-down motor on the driver's side rear view mirror must be broken. Now I have another rear view mirror that I can pull a motor out of. What did you find?
It's not as cool.
RX7 is a rotary, yeah.
They're always
But
rotary.
it's the what? The rotten stepchild. It's the RX that nobody wants to acknowledge exists.
Too late.
The hood latch on Bryson's car had a stripped out stud. And I had thought of a few different ways that I might repair that, including welding a new stud in it or maybe some kind of a helicoil. Here's an easy answer. You steal one off of the donor car at the salvage yard.
Where'd you put the ones that we harvested?
I've been putting stuff in my shopping cart.
Yeah.
Plastic miscellaneous stuff.
Color's a little better.
This
Just throw them all in there. The problem is they're brittle.
Yeah.
And so you go working on one and it breaks.
I picked up a spare power steering pump. Those seem to be a little bit in short supply. Not the body or the core pump itself, but what the factory service manual calls the sub pump that sits on top of the main pump. Having a spare helps me rest a little easier at night.
Wrap it up. I want to look at this pile of motorcycles over here.
All right, so we pack it up. We came, we saw, we got a bunch of junk. We can leave now.
Like we were never here.
All these little odds and ends were the kinds of things that I didn't want to have to go fishing online for and pay for shipping and deal with whatever kind of exorbitant pricing the seller wanted for it. Instead, I walked out of there with a couple of bins full of parts.
Very nice. Mission accomplished. Except we have to find our way out of here. And how far is the hike home? Is it 3 miles?
And for $200, I had all of these little odds and ends that just kind of round things out.
This way might be a bit of a dead end. Here.
Yeah, you can't get home from here. That's funny. I think you're probably safe to cut that.